Hey, it's your girl Tiffany from the ATL Rant, and you are tuned into QuaRantine Conversations. This is a conversation that I had with a social media inspiring influencer. His name is Terrell Irving. Make sure you check out his TikTok. You know, he does everything from rapping to poetry to preaching. So he's very entertaining. So check him out and check out our interview right here on Quarantine Conversations on the ATO Rant.
Because when it first started, and I actually had to, you know, social distance because I'm still out and about for the most part because of work. But at the same time, there was the beginning portion. I actually had to stay home for a little bit, and I was going stir crazy. Like there wasn't enough stuff to do at home. I'm like, I gotta do something. Something has to be done. And like I'm extroverted, my wife's introverted, so she's over there just. But I'm over here like I gotta do something. I'm like twitching. I'm like something needs to happen. I was like this. I gotta do something about this. So that was a negative impact where it showed me like that I really go stir crazy whenever I'm confined. But at the same time, it really gave me a chance to spend more time with my kids and my just my family as a whole. We got to really connect and just not I won't say feed off of our environment, but we just to learn more about each other. So I got to learn some things about my kids, the goods and the bads. um, just uh, so that affected me in a negative way by showing me myself and how I go crazy when I'm confined, but it affected me in a positive way to get to know my family better. If that fleshed it out a little bit.
Okay. You brought it back around. For sure. I mean, for me, I know that it definitely just showed me like I value family, because I felt the need to fly all the way to Ohio just to be like, okay, Ma, you good? Okay.
Right,
Now I've been here
right.
for over a month and a half now. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get back to my life.
Right. I
But
respect it.
but at the same time, since they're opening back up, I'm like, no, I don't think I want to be
Oh,
around all these
wow.
people, So
Right.
it's like I feel like it's giving me an opportunity to be more creative because I don't feel like I have as many obligations of, okay, I got to go to work, okay, I have to do this, that, and the third, versus just being at home, being able to work. Then I'm creative. I'm still writing down things, figuring out things that I want to do. So, I think that it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for everybody to have been able to slow down.
Right.
And, reevaluate life, like, and just seeing how people are just leaving out of here,
Yes.
it's think of an eye, like it's crazy. And I mean, not to be just always so much on faith, but I text one of my friends. I was like, "Do you think it's the first round of the rapture?" Like,
Ooh,
like,
I'm telling you,
I like,
I hear you.
that's what I was thinking at first. And I mean, she kind of took a positive spin on it and was just like, well, no, but I feel like, I'm thankful for the healthcare workers. She was just like, but no, I don't think it is. You can't let your mind go to that place. But I'm like, at the same time, you still have to be prepared.
Right. 100%.
So,
True, you talking good. You talking good. You gave me chills
it
for a
gave me
minute.
cause to say, okay, well, where's my faith at this point in time? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where is it at? And I feel like a lot of people initially, I don't think that they were looking at it from the faith aspect of, what is really going on. And I heard this today, and I thought it was funny. I thought it was so funny. They was basically saying that the devil and God are kind of in alignment right now. That they were saying that. I was just like, wow, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that, but basically they were saying because the churches are closed and the clubs are closed.
Right.
That's why they said that the devil and
like
God are in alignment.
That is hilarious.
Okay. But I mean, at the same time, because it's always a battle for your soul. You know what I'm saying? It's always a battle of choices. So I forget the reporter's name, but he did get COVID, and he was just basically, dang, I can't think of his name. He was basically saying, he was like, it's a battle of your will. It's a battle of your will to breathe deeper. You know what I'm saying? To consistently, because people are being isolated.
Right.
You know, and then they're not, at least in Atlanta. One of my friends was telling me she has a nurse that works in ICU, and they're not, if you code, they're not going in to revive you. They're just letting you die.
Wow.
You know? So just thinking about that and putting that in perspective,
right?
Of, okay, so it really is your time with God. You know what I'm saying? If you are in that situation, and even if you are not, you know what I'm saying, to basically have that choice of, you know, God, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know that some people who have lost people, like, I know it's kind of hard to hear. Okay, not saying that they chose to die, but it's just, okay, what were their final thoughts? Where was their will at? Were they so lonely to the point where they lost their will to fight? You know? So
that's deep. Whoa, where we going with this?
I know, right? I wasn't even trying to go there, but I'm just hey, it's so hard to find like-minded people. So you know what I'm saying? So I guess
100%. I'm telling you, because just based on what you said there's so many people I know that just in the last week, there's so many people that reached out to me and just in general conversation, just to talk about God or just to hint about something that they wanted to spark a conversation about God, which was like, where did you come from? Because you never, like, I talk about God all the time and you never want to talk. And all of a sudden it's just like, it's been a wake-up call. This virus has been such a wake-up call because people are actually scared. And there were so many people out there who say they're fearless, that say, oh, look, there was a guy the other day, like, yeah, I hope something happens because I got all these guns and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm sitting here at the same time, I'm like, you're scared. And you are scared. And it's okay to be scared. You're allowed to be, scared, because it gives you a sense of clarity and understanding that you're human. It's like, okay, I'm afraid, and there's a reason why I'm afraid, and I need to address it. Because if you didn't have any type of, I don't want to say fear, because God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but if you didn't have some sense of understanding that you don't have the power to control everything, then you would give up on God immediately. You would say, I can control it. It's in my hands because I got it. But the moment you realize that something is out of your control, that's when faith kicks in. And I think that a lot of people, their faith is finally kicking in because they realize they don't have control over the situation.
Right. So, like, I mean, and that being said, like, okay, well, what led you to your faith?
Whew. All right. So right after I got back from Youngstown, so literally this was a couple months, I would say 6 months after I left out of Youngstown, I got a job at FedEx, and it was about an hour away from where I lived at. And I would drive there every single day. And on the interstate, there was a big billboard. You know how they say God sends you a sign? He sent me a billboard. And on that billboard, it said John 3:3, except the man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. And I would see it every day. And I was just working, and I was in a bad place. I was just trying to, support my family and, just trying to be a man. And I wasn't making a lot of money. And one day I was on my way to work, and the vehicle was making this weird noise. And I'm like, what is going on? So I pulled over, I started checking the vehicle, and I couldn't find out what was wrong. So I called my dad. He's good with vehicles. And he was like, check this, check that. I'm checking it and everything. He's still telling me to check stuff. I got stubborn, hopped in the vehicle, started driving. And I got about 60 miles an hour. And see, I'm getting choked up. And the sound stopped. And so I told my father, I was like, hey, don't worry about it. You know, the sound stopped, so I'm just going to work. And he's like, okay. So I get off the phone with him. And mind you, I had just passed up the sign. I got into a construction area that the shoulders were closed. So there was no emergency pull-offs or anything. I'm in heavy traffic. I'm in between two semis. And next thing you know, I feel a boom. And I look beside me. My driver's side tire fell off. And it's rolling beside me. I see the semi. I see my driver's side tire. And I see me, and I'm holding on to the steering wheel with dear life. And I'm like, I'm really about to go out of here right now. This is it for me. Like, I'm gone. And I was like, there's nowhere to pull off. I'm in between these two semis. I don't know what to do. So what I did was I closed my eyes. I'm driving 60 miles an hour. Closed my eyes, slammed on the brakes, threw the wheel over as hard as I could. And the next thing I remember is I stopped in a place, in a construction space that they had cut out just for one of their vehicles to fit there. When my tire landed right under where it fell off with only missing one lug nut, I was like, what just happened? Like, what just happened to me just now? I looked over and I seen my tire rolling beside me. I closed my eyes. I pulled this wheel. I seen there was no shoulder, and I landed in this space. I'm like, how is that possible? And I'm just so amped up about it. I was like, I almost just went out of here. And I called my ex at the time, and I told her about it, and she was just like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Girl, I almost lost my life. It was a miracle. And my father came out and helped me get the tire back on because I didn't have the right stuff in the vehicle. And he put my tire back on, and he's like, are you ready to go home? And I was like, no, I'm going to work. He's like, what? All that happened, you going to work? So I ended up going to work, and it gave me, that moment on the side of that road. Like after he left, I stopped, and I was like, I had, a little background in faith, but in that moment, I looked up and I said, you know what, God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I was a party animal. I like to drink a lot. Like that was me. And I don't know how I'm going to do this being saved thing, but I know if you keep me, then I'm going to serve you for the rest of my life. And then that was back in 2013, and it's been God ever since.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. That's what's up. I mean, I think I remember, as you were saying, I was like, I recall, I feel like I read a post that you put up about that,
True.
So I was kind of recalling that a little bit as you were saying it. So, I mean, hey, that's a dope testimony. And just as far as him just putting the perfect pieces together within that, and it's kind of like you closing your eyes. You just like, okay, well, it's kind of like you just kind of put it in his hands.
Yes. Woo.
Goodness. Yes. I mean, I grew up in the church, so I feel like whenever you grow up in the church, you don't take it as serious, but I feel like because I grew up where we had like real prayer meetings, where we actually bending down in the pews and actually having prayer and being around a lot of older people. I think for me, it just kind of came back around, and God always affects my pockets, honestly. My money relationship, he always affects my pockets to where, all right, I know that I have to go back to him. So I've noticed that. I've noticed that over the years. So, we sang a bunch of old hymnals all the time. So it's there's always a hymnal that I'll have in my mind or learn how to have that and read the Bible and, basically cry out. So, I mean, for me, it was basically, he always brings things back to me, to
That's
realize, okay, I was here, I was with you. I was,
right.
through all of
Right.
the trials and tribulations, especially because I call Atlanta, anybody want to move is struggle Atlanta. So initially, you really have to have the will to want to stay there because of there's so many things to do and you want to do them, but you also have to be able to maintain and pay bills. So it's a
Right.
little bit of an adjustment for sure. I've recently been trying to, work on purchasing the house and everything. And I was going through a program and they told me to have a certain amount of money, and I was just like,
Okay.
I Uber and I Lyft on the side from my regular job. I was like, okay, I already figured it out. I freaked out at first and then I figured it out. I was like, okay, I can do $300 a week and but then it was like he stopped me in my tracks. Like my mom, my mom was just like, and she said it real kind of like, oh, you just got to tithe. You got to tithe. That's how you're going to get there. But I was basically just kind of like asking her, hey, with you and dad, like, what did y'all do? Y'all came in tough situations. And just to hear to tithe, it was just like, okay, that's taken away from me. What is that really going to do?
Right.
But, he brought it back to me as I'm, trying to be out here and doing Lyft and doing Uber and doing all that. He stopped me dead in my tracks.
Right.
He stopped me dead in my tracks. And
Man.
it basically came back to, okay, you need to tithe if this is something that you want to do.
Right.
So, fast forward. I mean, and I told this story recently, but fast forward, okay, I'd already done my due diligence of saving some money. And then, okay, we get our taxes. I ain't got my taxes in I don't know how long, to be honest, student loans and whatnot. I ain't got my taxes for years. I used to get something back on that. Right. So I actually got something back on my taxes. Then I also, for some people, I know COVID probably, it hit them hard, but I'm like, then my job gave us $1,000 free, no taxes at all, so I felt like, okay, all this stuff is kind of like falling into place, I did my own work, I worked and did what I needed to do as far as getting credit and everything together. So I truly feel like, okay, and I started tithing, I started tithing when he told me to tithe, so I just feel like, just being able to, you got to pay attention. I feel like people don't pay attention. God be talking all the time, but they don't pay attention to it. It always comes back. I don't know whether we freezing up a little bit. Am I frozen on your side?
No, you're good. You're good.
You're good? Okay. I don't know. I'm in the basement, so I might have to go upstairs or something.
Yeah, that was the first time that I'd seen you freeze up a little bit. But I could hear you talking clear, but your face stopped moving for like 2 seconds. But
that's crazy.
That whole situation, that whole you just said, like I respect much because I just respect it so much. You're at a loss of words for it sometimes because it's like how does God operate from us losing to gaining it?
Right.
In the middle of a time where everybody's hurting, all of a sudden, we're doing better than we've ever done. It's kind of I won't say a catch-22, but I heard somebody say that he delights in impossibilities. So it's just like, it's so amazing to see that in the moments where we're trying to figure out what's going on, he already got.
All right. So I just wanted to, I know we went out there, but I just wanted to talk about how you feel faith is affecting social media, since I do see some of your videos on TikTok and you have music. People are I see that they mimic you. I don't really know the game as far as TikTok. I'm just kind of getting into TikTok, and it's just because I see so many people post. So how do you feel like it's affected people as far as using TikTok? Are you using it as a tool, or is it more so something that's just for fun?
You know what? It started off as something just for fun, and then I got upset because I wasn't getting a following. So I was like, I'm working so hard to make these videos, and I got 130 followers. I was like, I can't do this no more. Like, in one day, I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I'm deleting this TikTok, and she was like, for what? I said, because like it's annoying. And she was like, so what are you doing it for? She's like, are you doing it for ministry? And I was like, yeah. She's like, then why delete it? And I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should get back on this. I was like, that's what I'll do. So I got back on it, and I really started focusing. I started getting on there and just started, something hit me. And I don't want to just say it's God. I don't want to be deep and just be like, oh, God told me, and get my preaching voice. But, but it just hit me just to not be influenced, but to influence. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. They're doing all these trends and stuff like that. I see. I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna just start praying for people. I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna just, I'm gonna be me, because it's easier to be me than it is to try to go on there and copy and do other things. Because then I gotta keep working extra hard to try to be somebody else.
Right.
And it's I believe that it's really affected some lives. I recently received a couple people, like, they've inboxed me and said either I'm that you influenced me or you helped me or something that you said helped me or came right on time. So I'm really thinking that, I don't want to say just I think that I really feel that that my faith, and through my faith, putting it through TikTok. It's so hard to say that. Putting my faith through TikTok is actually it's working. I say it that way. I'm really trying to use it as a tool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so have you are you doing sermons and everything that's online? Because I mean, I just remember I was on the sound ministry for a church, and they were doing conferences and stuff. They had this thing where they just did not like to be recorded. They clammed up everything else, and I'm just like, I'm thinking about now, how are you guys surviving now? Because you guys didn't want to do social media, you didn't want to do the Facebook thing, you didn't want to do nothing, because they felt like it was in contradiction. They felt like it was boasting, to be on Facebook and social media. So how do you feel about that? Is it something that you're doing? Because I feel like it's broadened the spectrum of being able to reach people now, because people are grasping for something. And every Sunday you get all of these people that are going Facebook Live, but I feel like there needs to be some other times during the week that people could take advantage of it. But is that something that you're doing? Are you have you switched up your ministry for social media?
You know what? I actually what I did was, so I'll go throughout the week. You have to, on TikTok, you have to have at least 1,000 followers before they even let you go live. And so it took a while for me to even be able to go live. But what I started doing was, my handwriting is terrible. So I type out all my sermons, and then I print them out. And so what I did was I went live, and I would take my sermons, and for the people on TikTok, they TikTok will refer people who's not even your friends to your page, and they can pop into your live whenever. And so I would just take my sermons, instead of preaching them, I would teach them. So instead of hooping and getting getting all the way up there like that, and I would just that was a terrible example, but I would just say, instead of going off that way, I would just teach and say, you know what, so line by line, just work it out, and so people would get it. And I did it that way. And then also I actually tried to flip, just to get people engaged, I tried to flip a common problem that's going on with men right now. Everybody has a nappy head, and I've been cutting hair for about 10 years. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna preach one of my sermons while I'm teaching people how to cut hair at the same time, and that ended up working out really good. I can't do that all the time because I can't keep cutting my hair every day, but but yeah, that's been my spin on social media and preaching.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like, because I thought TikTok was kind of like Vines, where it had to be it had to be short videos. So,
You know what? Here's a real good analogy of how TikTok is. It's a mix of um, Vine, Instagram, and Facebook. So if you were to take like the stories on Facebook, like how you have the Facebook stories, that portion, I guess you can mix Snapchat in there too. My goodness. But it's like everything combined into one, and to where you have up to 60 seconds to, either make a video or to edit, but you also have the ability to go live as long as you want.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, that's what's up. I mean, you kind of educate me too at the same time. I mean, I'm just Facebook and Instagram. I do have a Twitter, but I don't even remember the password. I do have one for the podcast, but my old Twitter, I have no idea. I don't even remember what my username was.
Woo, I respect it. Yeah, it takes some getting. Like, I know, my Twitter, I probably got like 2 followers, and I think somebody pity followed me, but yeah, TikTok, it takes some, like, I was scrolling through today just looking at some of my old posts, and I was like, what was I doing? Like, I had no idea what was going on, but it's one of them things you got to learning curve, you know what I mean?
Right, for real. So, I mean, so just to see people like Pastor Todd, Michael Todd, to see how his ministry grew just from social media, from someone else posting his stuff.
Right.
Is that kind of a goal now, or is it just more so just to see how many people you can reach?
It's a little mix. It's hard not to see how many people like you can get as followers, and at the same time, it's like you want to just be able to put it out there and then leave it alone, because you will fall so quickly into that. I want to get all these followers. Like, I have to. Like, this needs to happen. One of my friends on there, he actually had, well, when we became friends on there, he had 300,000 followers. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, man, you got a whole lot of followers. And I just looked. He used one of my sounds on there for one of his posts, and I looked to see how many followers he had, and I was like, man, you got 1.5 million followers. Like, when did that happen? Like, how did that happen? That is crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, and then you start thinking, like, all right, am I doing this right? And you start comparing yourself to people. But at the same time, like, you know what? If I do I get a little long-winded sometimes. If I could say it this way, just like whenever I wanted to give up the first time because I wanted to get followers and it didn't work, and then whenever I started just being me and just putting stuff out there and it started working, I think that's what humbles me every time I start thinking about getting more followers. And it's just like, nope, I'm gonna just put this out there, and whatever happens, happens.
Okay, so with you being a author and an artist and a minister husband, how is it to multitask? How did you set out goals to reach all these things, or is it more so, okay, I got these ideas? Because I mean, from what I remember, I was like, I know you had like a million ideas in this notebook that you had.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, you're artist too. Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's oh man, you got me thinking now. It was always a goal to do all those things. The falling back on faith is God put all those things in place. It's like I wanted to do all these things on my own, and they failed. Like, I tried. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna have a house. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna book. I'm gonna rap, and it failed. I'm like, I can't do none of this stuff. And literally, like once I got saved, it was like everything fell into place. Like just with my wife and like with like writing the book. Like I wrote this book was my first, the book that I showed earlier was literally my oldest daughter. I used to I used to read my Bible the same time I put her to sleep, and I was like, what can I do to I think my son's trying to break in here right now. Yeah. What's up, Trey? Okay, thank you, buddy. This is my youngest son. He needs to be in contact at all times. And, my book, I used to read my Bible at the same time I put my oldest daughter to bed. And I was like, you know what? I need to spend a lot more time with her too. I said, so what I want to do is I will try to come up with a biblical type story for her to help like her to learn a little bit of Bible or a little bit of scripture and for us to connect. And I just started telling her this story about there was a princess. Everyone would always tell my daughter like how beautiful she is. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. And I always tell her like you have to be more than beautiful. Like that's good and that's great, but there has to be something on the inside. And
Right.
that was something that transpired just after being saved, and God just really put things in perspective for me. Just on trying to rap, I tried to rap, and I had a little bit of success, but when I came over to God, like there was something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be able to write without using paper. Like I see Lil Wayne do it. And I gotta be able to do it. Like it can happen. I know I can do it. And I tried before I got saved, and it did not work. The first time I tried to write my mother-in-law asked me to do some spoken word for a Father's Day event, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I didn't have any paper around, so I was just sat there, and I was like, okay. And next thing you know, I just started thinking of things, and every time I would think of something, all of a sudden it was sticking in my mind, like I had a notepad in my mind. I'm like, wait, am I doing it? Is this really happening right now? What's going on? And ever since then, like that was back in 2014, and I haven't written down any of my raps ever since then. Everything is just off from the top of my head. And it's none but God. So I had goals, and God worked everything out the way He wanted to work it out, and so that's been my I would say he's been my taskmaster to say the least. To say the least.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, that being said, though, because I mean, God has given me some ideas, but I've seen where someone else kind of had it too.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So they took it. So I was just like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so is this still my idea? Is it something I can still use? Or does it just mean it was a good idea? You know what I'm saying? Because like you have an idea and then you see somebody else doing it, it's kind of like, dang,
right.
You know, what am I gonna do now? So I wondered though, because it was just like, you know, I don't know how your process is. I know that sometimes it could just be like, okay, I wake up and it's there, or it's something I dreamed about, or just you know, just through maybe seeing something and then just maybe writing it down, or just I pincushion a lot of stuff that's just in my mind.
That's good.
You know, so do you think that if someone else has your idea, do you feel like, okay, God gave it to someone else, or do you feel like it's something that you still should do? I don't know. Like I always thought about that. Like, okay, is it a rap for that? Like,
wow,
can I still do it?
That is deep. That's deep, T. That's deep. Because you know what? There's been times that, you know, I've thought of things or hopped out of bed with an idea, and I heard my pastor say one time, he said that, you know, sometimes you have the right idea, but it's the wrong time. And it's just like, you know, somebody can have the same exact idea as you, and then it flopped. But, you know, a couple years down the line, all of a sudden you're like, you know, it hits you again. Like, I had this idea way back. You know, how about I try that? It's a classic example. Let's see, been out of school for, let's say 10 years ago, freshman in college, I used to do this thing. Don't laugh at me. I had rope lights in my apartment, like up around my ceiling, and I was just like, I'm the man. Like, look at this. I got rope lights in my room, in my apartment. I'm the man. Nobody liked it. They were like, you are so corny. Like, why would you do that? And fast forward 10 years later, the hottest thing right now is for people to have rope lights in their room. And I'm like, man, where was this at whenever man, I could have been the man. Like, but it's one of those things, like, timing is timing. But as far as, that is deep, T. That is really deep. Because, I mean, people take ideas, too. They take ideas, heartbeat.
I mean, okay, I'm just going to let you know what it is. It was basically a Christian hip-hop radio show. And, okay, now you got Willie Moe Jr. Like, so he's doing his thing. He's in the afternoons. And then there's another, like, I hear it in Atlanta. I'm sure they're syndicated, but it's like a night show that they do. But my idea was basically because there's Streets 94.5 in Atlanta. They don't have no gospel show on their station, and I'm just like, why don't they? This would be a perfect format for, quote unquote Christian hip hop to play from, like maybe 3 a.m. to 6, or, what I'm saying, or whatever time in the morning. Right. Just to kind of bridge that gap, because that's the people that you kind of want to reach, is those
right.
or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to reach them, and because I got tired of there's an older gentleman, his name is Larry Tinsdale, and there's a few other ones. I just feel like there needed to be a new sound. I mean, Kenton Jones has a show too. Well, I don't know that he's still on. But I mean, as far as Atlanta, my scope is kind of like zoomed in on Atlanta, but I feel like it would work. It would work in other ways though too. You know what I'm saying? Because you have the younger generation that, they may listen to Lecrae and a few others. Right. And there's a lot more churches, like crossover in Tampa, and now there's a crossover church that's in Atlanta. It's kind of like, it's not necessarily hip hop, but they welcome hip hop. They got DJ, they got DJ and everything in their service. So I mean, it livens things up a little bit more, and then they may also have a choir. So I'm just as far as just bridging the gap between, yes, there's no problem with gospel music, but I'm just saying, you can still have gospel music and mixed in with a little bit of hip hop. Right. But that was one of my original ideas that I got like 3-4 years ago. And so to see it come to fruition for, somebody else. For other people. So it was like, okay, this is still something that I should do. And my mom kind of brought it back. She, my mom always checking me. That's what moms are for. But even with this show, she was like, okay, what's the purpose of this show? Because I mean, hey, we get a little ratchet, we do get a little ratchet. But I feel like because this time, and I feel like it's because like my co-host, we kind of like, he like the bad, I'm like the good, and then sometimes the bad, sometimes the good, so right. It gets ratchet. So then, but it brought me back to my original, I'm an interviewer, I'm a moderator, you know what I'm saying? That's who I am. So then I was like, okay, well, I could just have conversations with people, just kind of switch it up and get to the heart, so people could really know, okay, this is really who I am, versus, trying to be a Charlemagne or Angela Yee, because I mean, I know you from radio, so this is how radio is though now. Radio now, like for me to sit and watch BET last night and to be like, okay, dang, this ain't as professional. Ushers was probably the closest to a little bit more professional, but they was basically doing some karaoke over their own songs. They was basically doing karaoke over their own songs. So I'm like, okay. So for us to be in this, and you don't want to have a whole crew like how the whole battle with Teddy Riley. No, you don't want to have a whole crew now. So it was just like, dang, it was interesting just to see, Usher with his video. He included his kids, but I mean, just everybody just looking real regular. I feel like we needed
Yep.
this moment to remind us that we are all human.
Right,
For
100%.
real. For real, I think it was needed.
And I'm right there with you. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like TikTok so much, because a lot of famous people that are on there, you get to see them like in their humanness. Like, wait a minute, that's what you cook? Like, this is what you do? And it's like the playing field is level. So there's people that get on there that are famous and, you know, try to use their fame to grow on there real quick. And it's like, nah, it don't happen like that. Like, y'all, you gotta work for this, because
Right.
Yeah, ain't gonna follow you. Like, I seen Jason Derulo last week shave one of his eyebrows off. You know, just, I'm like, man. I said, I ain't hurting that bad for followers. I mean,
Right, but followers equal money though now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that is true.
you know, I don't know if you remember Janae. And
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
Janae. Yeah, her daughter has 1 million plus followers on all platforms, from YouTube to TikTok to what is the other, Thriller,
Wow.
Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah, so
let's
she has a
go.
lot of
That's
followers.
awesome.
And I mean, those followers equate money because she got signed to Rich the Kid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
you know, so you're getting signed to people because of the amount of followers that you have, because they want to use your following. So, but true. I feel like it's not just, okay, come and follow me. It's about building that niche market of, okay, you know, you're into what I'm into. We are here. We're vibing for real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way that you can have a real loyal following. It is a little bit diluted, I feel. I feel like it, you know, as far as like some people buy followers and whatnot, there's an algorithm to it and everything now.
Right.
If I knew what I know now, you know, I definitely would have kept pushing with what I had back then. I was like, dang, like, you know.
Yeah, I understand. And, you know, it's going back to that, your gift will make room for you, because you're good at this. So it's just like, you seeing so many people, like, this is the I wouldn't say the platform. This format is what's really moving right now. People just talking to other people, and just the viewers just want to get to know other people and get to feel like they're not alone in what they're going through. They're not alone in what they think, or a different way to do things to where they can get better at something. People, they are feeding off of that. Every time I go somewhere, I hear somebody talking about a podcast. I had somebody at work the other day. He came and helped me to do something. And I'm like, man, you had your headphones on. What you listening to? Oh, yeah, man, I'm listening to this podcast. I'm like, you've been listening to that podcast for 4 hours. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, and you ain't take not a headphone out. But it's one of those things that, you know, this is really what's moving. I know personally, I couldn't do it just because I talk and I go way left field. As you can see, but you're really, really good at this, and that's one thing that I can truly say. Not just say it because I'm on your show, but just because I've seen it, seen you in action, seen you press the buttons and speak. Like I've seen it in action, so I can say that you are really good at what you do.
No, I mean, I appreciate that. I definitely do. I mean, honestly, I had a little bit of anxiety about doing it, but I feel like, just like the whole Teddy Riley thing, because I feel like for Teddy, it was, oh, I'm back on, and he wanted to present at a certain level. But what I realized, like, you know, and then because you see so many people, they're more technically inclined, so you want to be at that level, whereas before I didn't care. I'd be like, okay, we're gonna record this, we're gonna do this, you know what I'm saying? My hesitation has come in a little bit, but you know, I just feel like, okay, just like how everybody, hey, just turn on the microphone, turn on the camera, and just do it, you know, and edit it. And I mean, it's, you know, it really doesn't take that much, and I feel like we're gonna suffer a little bit after this is all over, and it's just because people are gonna go back to not communicating, and just they'll still be in their phones, but they won't be as open to communicate. So, you know, I feel like kids are gonna have a hard time adjusting too, because mom is always home. That's why people talk about, okay, married people, they either gonna be divorced or they're gonna be expecting another child, or
Right. Quarantine babies, you know. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, hey, I'm definitely learning to cherish the time that I have, especially with family and loved ones. I feel like it's definitely paramount because, you know, what do you have outside of that?
Tell me about it. Hey, you're absolutely right. This time has been like so eye-opening for me in a sense that just to see how connected everyone really is, and especially like in a social media aspect, because literally there's I keep going back to TikTok because I don't really have that many followers on anything else. I really kind of got back into full force in the social media, but on TikTok, I just did a snippet. Like everything that I record, I used to go to the studio. I had like $15,000 worth of recording equipment. And I got rid of all that once I got saved and stuff. And now I just on my phone. One day I hopped out of my vehicle and I was like, I like this beat. And I put it on and I was like, you take your right hand, put it in your left, shake the devil off, praising God because you're blessed, kick left, kick right, get the sin about your life, hit the woe for your soul. Now you're doing that right. Boom. All right, well, I'm going to post it. So I posted it, and literally, I just looked today, and that was like 2 weeks ago. Over 4,200 something people have like created a video to that exact sound, and I'm like, when did this happen? Like, what? I'm starting to get some more subscribers on YouTube, and people are following me on Instagram, and they're just like, and on Facebook, and like it's trending on almost every platform. And I'm seeing people like they're like messaging me like, where do we get this full song? And I'm like, guys, like I mean hopping out of the car, like I don't know what to tell you. What the one guy who he works with Country Wayne, and he messaged me and he was like, hey, did you do a music video for this yet? And I'm like, no, like I didn't really, this ain't a full song. And he's like, listen,
sound like you might want to do one.
Yep, that's what he said. He was like, listen, when you do this music video, I want to be in it. And I was like, all right, so listen, hopefully I'll finish the song soon. Like, I don't know. But it's just like, we're so connected to what's going on. It's just like the next big thing could be like that.
Right.
Like it's one of the biggest songs of, I don't want to say 2019 coming in 2020 was TikToking. And the guy was, I've been TikToking while I'm walking with my dogs and Millie rocking. I was like, I got on TikTok like, who is this doing this? Like, this is crazy. And all it was this guy, he was beating on a wall and he was just saying, I've been TikToking while I'm walking with my dogs and Millie rocking. And that's all he was doing. And that turned out to be one of the biggest songs of 2019, 2020, and it took him over 1 million followers and X, Y, and Z. And I messaged, not messaged him, but I commented on something that he posted, and I was like, one of the biggest songs. I was like, wait, I don't say it right. I said, if you'd ever feel discouraged, I said, one of the biggest songs of 2019, 2020 was made by a guy beating on a wall, saying a couple words. And he commented on it, was like, you are absolutely right. And it's just, man, so we all got a chance. And it's just like you said, just turning the mic on and turning on the camera and just going.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But you also got to be prepared because look at what's happening, though, too. You
That's
know,
true.
you
true.
also got to be prepared. I know you're like, dang, where is that equipment at? Like, hey,
right.
Let me, I got to do real quick. But I mean, hey, I can record on my phone vocals. I can edit videos. I mean, the phone is really where it's at, though, right now. You know, so
it's crazy. The level of technology is just
right.
I wish
right.
Years ago.
I mean, hey, I think you should definitely do that. I mean, hey, you with the amount of kids that you have and the way that you can make money on social media, I mean, the DeVal and Kadeen should be your roadmap right there for your family. He did a whole Old Spice commercial with his boys. I'm like, so these are the people who are still making money outside, you know what I'm saying? And you just spending time with your family making money, like, you know? So I'm just like, okay, you know, like, I mean, it's an avenue if you want to have your life out there. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine, and you got to be emotionally stable, you know, because some people, they take what people say on social media so to heart. And I'm just like, I could care less. Like, you know, it's only when a family member or something says something, and I'm like, okay, well, what you say that for? You know what I'm saying? So I just, as far as that aspect, I feel like it is a roadmap that God has provided for us to be able to make some money, but it's whenever your ego comes into play that you have to make sure that you're keeping yourself in check, and just make sure, okay, this ain't real life. This is just, you know, it's a tool.
Right.
At the same time.
I agree 100%. My wife checked me today, and because I was I posted a rap earlier, and somebody commented and said something like, you know, bar of the year or something like that. And I said it out. I actually was thinking out loud, and I was like, man, you know what? I am kind of dope. And my wife looked at me like, excuse me? I was like, well, I'm just saying, like, it was, I mean, just the way that I put it out, it was kind of cool. When she was like, but that sounded real arrogant. And I was like, oh, man. I said, but listen, here's what I said, though. It was just like, oh, man. And it was a humbling experience for a second. It checked me like, you know what? Like, I'm not, regardless of what people say, I got to keep my focus maintained on what's really important. So I give what you say 100% about that, you know, the humility factor, because, whoo, it can get you out there real quick.
Right. I mean, as long as you know what your purpose is, you know, everybody else they can think what they think, but as long as you know where you stand, hey, it don't matter. Sky's the limit.
You're talking good.
Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about your book with your daughter. So what is the message that you have for your son, though? Okay,
so for my sons, I'm trying to think what books were it. So I'm trying to think which one of my books was the message for them, because I try to really just say, like, look at me, like, do as I do. But one thing, literally, with the book for my daughter, I really showed my sons what to expect out of a woman, but just how you should view a woman. And then also I had my let's see, I'm trying to go in order. Look Up. It was about a crocodile and it was a bird. Or something, Mom. I'm sorry. There's a crocodile and a bird, and the bird flew over to the crocodile, and it's just like a self-esteem type book. And basically, the whole time, the bird's like, you know, why are you down there? Like, why are you down so low to the ground? You know, did you hear a sound? Or is there something you found? Just basically keep going in that direction. And then at the end, the crocodile broke down and said, you know, the reason why I'm down here is because I'm trying to hide my frown. I'm trying to hide my face to show, like, how I feel. And the bird just smiled at him and said, you know, whenever you're down so low to the ground and you didn't hear a sound or it wasn't something you found, just look up and you might see a reason to smile. And at the end, you see, I had like fireflies. I illustrated it as well. I had fireflies flowing throughout every page, and at the end, whenever he finally looks up, there's fireflies in the shape of a smiley face, and that's like the reason, like, you might find a reason to smile. So just to keep them encouraged, I started making a book for one of my sons, well, for my sons, but it's like a superhero book, and I plan on turning them all into superheroes and trying to work that into something, but I haven't really gotten to that part yet, because once you start illustrating, it takes up so much time. My goodness.
So, I mean, how did you get into that though? Like, as far as being able to illustrate and self-publishing and doing all of that, I mean, it's definitely about. So, do you feel like your entrepreneurial side is going to outweigh the day-to-day job at some point?
I hope so. I really hope so. Oh my goodness, I hope so, because I mean, I love my job. It's really tedious at times, and it wears you down. But I really hope that, with the books and stuff, that it would actually outweigh. And I told my wife at the beginning of this, I said, I want Pepsi to be my side job. Like, I wish that could be my side job, and everything that I'm doing now would be the main focus, and that I'd be able to actually provide significantly with this stuff. And the way that I really got into the illustration portion, let's see, the easiest way to put it, my first book, I paid for the illustration. After I paid for the illustration, I'm not paying no more for the illustration. I was like, you know what? It was amazing. He did an extraordinarily great job. Like, he did amazing. I've been drawing since 5th grade. I was like, you know what? I worked on my phone long enough. He said, give me an Apple Pencil and we will draw and things will work out. I said, if it doesn't, I'm going to go watch a YouTube video, a YouTube tutorial.
University YouTube.
Yes. And eventually I got better at it, and it came out. It's getting better. The first one came out decent. The second one came out good. And then whenever I started doing the superhero one, it came out really good. And I want to be able to maintain that image, like, to make it all look good, but it just takes a lot of time. And I think we have time now, but at the same time, I'm still working. So
right.
It's not much time as I would like to have.
Okay. So what's next for you?
So, that's a good question. We just had a baby. She's 7 weeks. And the most recent thing that I started doing outside of, like, I can't say outside of music because it is music, picked up a saxophone and I learned how to play sax. And
that's so random.
right.
Who just learned how to play sax? Okay.
I know how to play keys. I know how to play the keyboard, and I play the drums a little tiny bit, like I can just a little bit. And when we were in college, I seen my boy play the saxophone, and I was like, this is amazing. I have to learn how to play. And I picked it up one day and just started fooling around with it. And I said, you know what? This finger makes this sound. This finger makes this sound. If I blow hard, this does this. This does that. Then I hit a wall, went to YouTube. And I learned how, chords and how to work progressions, and started playing songs in church. It's been I started playing for a couple months, but since we have the baby now, I can't play because, she has to sleep, and, when I hurt her little ears and all that other good stuff. So I feel like I'm gonna be rusty by the time this quarantine's over. But yeah, I wanna do better with my sax. And people keep asking me to do an album, so I think I might try to. I might drop an album just real quick. Like, finish all the songs that I put out on TikTok, and finish those ones, and then just put it out there, see what happens. If nothing happens, then I at least got the ministry out there a little bit more, and go from there.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. I mean, you've always been very energetic. I really enjoyed our conversation. I look forward to seeing what you'll be doing next. And I'll figure out TikTok. I did download it. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
see.
my battle right there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, okay, I'm too old for TikTok. I'll just watch the videos. I don't think I'll participate at this point. But it was really great talking to you. Do you still run?
You know what? I actually it's another thing that I started doing, but I just finished up. This year was my first year not coaching. As soon as I got out of college, I started coaching high school track. And I coached since 2013, and this was the first year that I stopped. I stopped this year, so no more running for me. My hamstrings are gone somewhere. I gotta look for them. but yeah, no more running for me. I leave that up to the kids.
Right. I mean, sometimes I do live in the woulda, shoulda, couldas. I follow this girl, Shot Put Diva, because that's what I used to do, Shot Put Diva.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, man, I should have stuck with it. Like, I should have stuck with it, but I feel like God has us where he has us.
Yeah.
So at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I respect it.
All right, so let everybody know your social media, your TikTok, and all of that.
All right, so here's what I did. I made it so easy so everyone can follow me. I changed all of my names on all my profiles to just Terrell. Tarelle. You search it and you'll find me wherever you go, whether it be on Twitter with my 2 followers or Instagram. I got a little more on there. Facebook, Terrell. TikTok, it's just Terrell. And my music, literally, I had an old rap name. It was hot, and now it's just Terrell. So if you hear it's just Terrell, though, that's me. So that's
okay,
how you.
Then. All right, that's what's up. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all like and follow and subscribe to the ATL Rant. Subscribe, like, and follow him as well on his social media. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me. So y'all catch it on Spotify and Apple Music. You guys can check out the vocals, but you can check out the video once I get done editing it. I'll put it up sometime this weekend. But I appreciate you once again. I'm about to play this close out real quick. So make sure y'all tune into the ATL Rant. This is QuaRantine Conversations. All right.
All right.
Don't catch me out and about without my Bible. I'm a disciple. See, I came to the game like Saul. Saw the light, now I'm Paul. Life is too short, came to Christ, now I stand tall. I'm on my way up like a layup, I ain't playing ball. You can pick a role and I stick with the cross. I am a D-I-S-C-P-L-E-Y. You will not catch me out and about without my beat. I-B-L-E-U-C. My savior will not decline anyone that decides to come over to this side. I'm a disciple.